Yeah, Friday! You have reached episode 24 of the Ranting Weight Watcher. I am your host, Donato Russo. I hope you enjoy the show today. If this is your first time here and you enjoy the show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If the podcast app you're listening to me on allows you to rate the show, please leave a 4-star or 5-star rating. Any ratings appreciated. Thank God it's Friday. It is the end of the week, and I am ready for the weekend. Aren't you ready for the weekend? I hope you enjoy the show today. I think I wrote a good one. It's always glad when it's Friday. Let's get into this. Journey updates. Okay, guys. This week I had another bad week. Up another 1 pound, 1.2 pounds this week. So the total gain I have remaining to lose right now is 2.2 pounds that I have to get rid of. Total pounds lost for the month of January is 14 pounds. The total pounds lost since I started back in January 2019 is 109.2 pounds. And the pounds remaining to get to 277 is 9.4 pounds. The pounds I have to get to the next WW milestone, which is the minus 125 milestone, is 15.8 pounds. And the pounds to get to my big goal, which would be to lose 200 pounds, is 90.8 pounds. So, not a great week, but I still cannot complain when I look at the month of January being down 14 pounds. It is definitely an amazing thing, if you ask me. But got to make a correction here, got to do something and get the ball rolling in the right direction. Some of this gain could be I've had a tremendous amount of pain in my right knee the last week or so. And to the point where I started using anti-inflammatory medications and stuff like that. So it is possible. I try not to put any stock in it, but it is possible. I usually only take these medications if I can't take the pain anymore. That's kind of like the week the past week has been terrible for my right knee. And I can't wait until a day comes where, because, I see the doctor however many times about the knee, and they all say the same thing. They all say, well, lose weight, and the knee will feel better. And now I've lost 109 pounds, and I don't know that the knee feels any better, to be honest with you. Well, what can I do? Who am I? What can I possibly say about it, right? Anyway, on to today's topic. We're going to talk about pain. It's inevitable, really, right? When we think about it, when you decide you're going to change your lifestyle, get a healthy lifestyle going, and you're going to make the steps, whether it is through eating right, whether it's to exercise, whether it's to do both, you're going to change your life. It's my firm belief that at these moments when you make these decisions like this, decisions that would cause good things to happen in your life, whatever the decision is. It doesn't have to be health related. It could be anything related. It could be career related. It could be just spiritual beliefs. Whatever it is. You make a decision to better your life in any way, shape, or form, something called Murphy's Law takes into effect. And what is Murphy's Law? Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. That's, in a nutshell, that's what happens, right? It is testing your resolve in a way that you have no idea, that you cannot anticipate, okay? And everybody, this is what separates the strong from the weak. This first moment when you make a decision that you're going to change your life, this is how you know that you might be headed in the right direction or you might be headed in the wrong direction, because you will hit a stumbling block. You will hit a circumstance that you feel will deter you from taking your concentration off of whatever you're trying to do, right? So in my case, it's living a healthy lifestyle, right? I decide to make a life choice to live a healthy lifestyle, then things come in my path that would take me away from living the health style. Oh, you know what? I'll start next week. This is all messed up now. I'll start next week, kind of a thing like that. And there's always going to be these things. There's always going to be joint pain. There's always going to be back pain. You name it. Bodily aches and pains, they just come with it. We can't take it like it's law just because we are presented with it. And, let's say you didn't decide not to exercise right away. I can bet anything that Murphy's Law knows you're not going to exercise, so puts life events in front of you, like a wedding, like a baby shower, like a cookout, like a holiday, whatever it is, where these things weren't planned for in advance. Now you decided that you're going to live a healthy lifestyle and you're sick and tired of doing whatever you were doing before, and you're going to make a change. Then all of a sudden these things like this present themselves. And that's when the attitude comes. The weak will definitely get separated at this point. And I'll say, well, you know what? We got this baby shower coming up on Saturday. We got this wedding coming up on Sunday. Let's just start next week. Forget about it this time, because we're just going to start in the wrong direction because of this party, because of this holiday, because of this event. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be an event. There's always going to be a circumstance that takes you from whatever it is you're trying to do. If you're trying, even on the spiritual world, you're trying to better yourself and get closer to God. Everything to distract you from God is going to present itself. A new love in your life, circumstance happens in the family, a death in the family, whatever it may be. Who is sick? Who is hurt? Who's getting a bad grade in school? Whatever it is. Anything to deter you emotionally from what you're trying to do will happen. And we should almost expect it. At this point in my journey, I can look back and look at it. I feel honored that Murphy would try to pay so much attention to what I was doing. And that's all I can do about that. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a little more about how I deal with the pain that I have, with what techniques or whatever I use to get through this journey, because there's nothing easy about doing this. So stick with me. We'll be right back.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening to the Ranting Weight Watcher. If you would like to connect on social media, we would love to connect with you. On Facebook and Instagram, search for @The Ranting Weight Watcher. On Twitter, search for @The Ranting WW. On the Weight Watchers Connect app, search for @Ranting Weight Watcher. You can also email the show, say hello, or share your story with us. Send your emails to therantingweightwatcher@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. If this is your first time here and you enjoyed the show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If the podcast app you are listening with allows you to rate the show, please leave a 4-star or 5-star rating, whatever is in your heart to leave. Any rating is greatly appreciated. And now, without further delay, here is the star of the show, Donato Russo.
And we are back. Thanks for sticking with me. Today we're talking about how we deal with pain. And I'd like to get a little into that now. So the first thing about dealing with pain, because to be honest with you, I've been dealing with joint pain for many years at this point. When you carry the amount of weight that I carried, at one time my largest weight was 460 pounds. And the amount of pain that comes on the joints is incredibly painful. You know, having the gastric bypass surgery definitely helped and basically brought me down to a manageable level really quickly. And then I did the wrong thing, and over 15 years, I gained the majority of the weight back. And I'm not saying I'm not at fault for it. Of course I'm at fault for it. There's not a day that goes by where I won't acknowledge that. I never changed the behavior. I changed my physical ability to eat the amount of food I was eating prior to the gastric bypass, but I never changed the behavior. A little bit of a Big Mac is still Big Mac. It's not grilled chicken, if you could understand what I'm trying to get at here. Making bad choices, if that doesn't change, you'll drop a bunch of weight. But the idea is you're supposed to change your habits and behaviors as you lose weight so that you learn a new way of living. That's why they say healthy lifestyle. I never did that. I dropped almost 200 pounds in 1 year, started to enjoy life, and over the next 15 years, gained the majority of it back until 2019 when I decided to join Weight Watchers at 395, when I said that enough is enough. I'm not going to allow myself to gain anymore. So my first piece of advice, coming from someone I literally have had pain in my hips, pain in my knees, pain in the low back, everywhere you could possibly hold extra weight in, these areas I carried pain with that. And the first thing I would tell you is you got to know when to rest. When you're exercising, eventually, if you push yourself as hard as I push myself, because I'm very results oriented, right? And I want to get there. I'm not a patient man, and I just want to be at the magic number I set for myself so I can make the next decision. And that magic number was I want to lose 200 pounds, be 195, and then decide where to go from there. And I just want to get there quickly. And I understand it can't happen quickly, but I'm human. I'm not a robot here, I have things, things I set in my head that I want to be done by this date. And I know I can't even tell you how many times someone has told me, oh, don't set dates. It's just going to, drive you crazy. And I get that. And I have set so many dates, and I still continue to set them to this day. I may not say them out loud, but they're in my head. And every time the scale goes up in the wrong direction, it's 1 week away. It's 1 week further away. You understand what I mean? Everything just seems like it's going backwards, where I know it's not. In my head, I know it's not. There's a lot of things in the body that change. And it's not just muscle and fat ratio. There's plenty of things going on, and joint issues are one of them. water retention, all kinds of things that can go wrong in your body that can cause fluctuations. But yes, knowing when to rest is extremely important, especially if you're new to exercise. But you got to know when your body is telling you you need a break. If you're only walking 3 days and there's 7 days in a week, you have some leeway. You have some time to say, okay, here's a rest day. Fast forward, I'm now walking 6 days a week. 6 days a week, anywhere between 1 and 1.5 hours each day. So I give myself a rest day of every Friday. That's the night before weigh-in, and that's the night I choose to rest. That's a guaranteed. But I have come to learn that every once in a while, you might tweak something, you need another rest day. There cannot be this voice of guilt, okay? We cannot allow the voice of guilt or shame to invade our journey just because we might need a rest day. You know the body of work thus far, right? I started off 3 days a week. I'm now up to 6 days a week. My body of work has progressed and it has doubled, and it has been consistent, okay? So every once in a while, where I'm always looking for something new, right? I'm looking for what can I do new to take me to the next level. Thing you have to do is keep challenging yourself, right? You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. Sometimes on a Saturday when I know there's nothing else going on, it goes from a 1.5 hour walk to a 2 hour walk. Just because my knee feels particularly good that day. Now I have I have arthritis in my right knee. I've had it for years at this point. Up until I started to live a healthy lifestyle, up until I just started to exercise in that healthy lifestyle, the only time my knee bothered me was when rain was coming and whenever I got up and sat down on a chair, when I went up or down the stairs, and when I got in and out of bed. Those are the only times my knee ever bothered me. And if I spent the majority of the day in the chair, how many times do you think I got up? So it becomes like, okay, yeah, you're not hurting all the time because you're not using it. But now that I'm walking 6 days a week, anything can aggravate the right knee. Anything. One day I came into my office here because I work from home, and I sat down because we have to connect to a portal, a connection portal, like it's like a VPN to get you into work, right? And I learned really quickly that if I wait until right before I have to start work, that's when everybody's trying to connect to the portal, and the likelihood that you're going to be able to connect is slim to none. So I would come in here 6 a.m. and connect myself to the portal. Anyway, one day I came and I go to lower myself into the chair. I get this popping sensation in my back, and it's like the whole day is shot. My back is killing me from sitting in a chair. Like, what the hell did I do to myself? And it was so bad that I actually took a rest day because sitting was uncomfortable, standing was uncomfortable. The only thing that was comfortable was laying down. And that's basically all I did. After the workday was over and I fought through, and it's funny because I actually fought through the 8 hours of work, but then skipped the exercise. And, that's obviously the shame and guilt talking in my head. Like, well, okay, I was trying to sit here and power through for a paycheck, but then when it came for my health, I took a back seat and sat down or laid down and didn't go for a walk. There's a million and one ways you could think of that. But that's just in the back of my head, the little voice in the back of my head is talking like that. And I'm sure many other people would do the same thing. But we have to know when it's time to rest. Especially when you're working out the majority of the week. And I know people that have no rest days. And that's just insane to me. How could you have 0 rest days? I had once said, because I had a personal trainer for a little while last year. I don't have him anymore because of financial reasons, but not because of any other reason than that. But I had said to him, oh, I won't exercise the night before weigh-in. And it was like a known fact with anybody who's on Weight Watchers says it. And so this is a personal trainer, someone who has nothing to do with Weight Watchers. It looks at me like I have 10 heads. Why? What's the big deal that you wouldn't weigh in? Why wouldn't you exercise the night before weigh-in? And I said, well, they say, everything swells up and then it affects the scale. And he just started laughing at me. He goes, tell me something. Let's say you're right, he says, and you do swell things up. You work so hard that things get swelled up. If you do it every Friday and it only looks different on the first time it happens, every other time it's just a normal Saturday because working on Friday has become normal. So what's the difference? And he brought up the same argument when I told him, I had brought up so many other things, and he would bring up the same argument. It's only different. It's only an anomaly on the first weigh-in after you make the change. It is not an anomaly anymore once the behavior becomes normal. And I couldn't argue with it anymore because it made sense. It does. It's like the same idea. Since COVID-19 hit, when you go to weigh in at the workshops, if you have a workshop that's actually open in your area, they make you weigh in with shoes on now. And in the beginning, I remember thinking, oh, that's insane. Who the hell is going to want to weigh in with shoes on? And still, I haven't stepped into an open location since. Not just because of that, but, there's a number of reasons why I haven't gone to an actual location, even though they're open in my area. But I just thought it was ludicrous. But then I can hear my trainer's voice in the back of my head. It's only an anomaly the first time. After that, it's the same every week. It becomes the normal. So what? You take a hit, the number goes up, but the next week the new number is the new normal for you. So if the shoes add 3 pounds, know it's the shoes. Move on, because the next week you're going to still be up the 3 pounds for the shoes, unless you find some magic shoe that doesn't weigh 3 pounds. And it's just, I could hear him in the back of my head saying stuff like that. And it makes complete sense. But I'm way off topic here. Knowing when to rest is important. But then there's the part of me that typically wins. And that's knowing when to push through. Push through the pain. Because there's always going to be pain. The same way the 3 pounds are always going to affect the scale on all future weigh-ins. The same way the swelling will affect the scale on all future weigh-ins. Because it's just the new way of doing it. Same thing. If it's always going to be there, it just has to be part of life sometimes. Obviously, if it's severe enough, you know that you have to take a rest day. But your body. You know what you're capable of. And when you're copping out. When you can handle more, but you just don't feel like it. You know the difference. And you have to be truthful with yourself, because in the end, you're not lying to anyone. You could say whatever you want to say. In the end, you're going to be judged on the work you've done and the results you receive from the work you've done. And that's the God's honest truth. It doesn't matter how you feel about your journey. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. When the world looks at you, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong to think this way. I'm saying it is what it is. I'm saying when the world looks at you, when everybody who's not on Weight Watchers, who doesn't understand what it is they've been thin all their lives, they have no idea what it is to deal with a weight problem. When those people look at you, these people are going to look for results. And when they don't see them, it won't matter how you feel. When you say things like, I had a gain this week, but you know what? I feel good, because they don't hear anything after that, because it doesn't matter. Feelings don't matter to anyone else. Do they matter to you? I'm sure they do. I'm a realist. I try to allow my feelings to matter as little as possible, because I know my feelings lie the majority of the time. And anytime there's a thought that I might have too much pain, I just get myself out of the house. Get myself out. Go. Put the shoes on. Go. And I said, well, with this level of pain, I could make it to the stop sign and back at least, bottom line. Because there's like I make a right out of my parking lot. I make a left out of my parking lot, go down to the first stop sign in my journey. I say, okay, I'll make it to that stop sign, come back, and at least I did something today. Then I find myself at the stop sign and I say, well, if I made it here and I don't feel any pain, I can make it to the next stop sign. Okay? And before I know it, I'm halfway through my walk. I'm at the furthest distance from my house, still not exactly feeling pain. Or if I am feeling pain, it's an ache, right? It's a dull ache, or it's it's enough to say it's there, but I'm not crippled. I'm not crying in agony. I'm not dying. I survived, so we can go a little further. And at any given moment, the journey can be cut short. Hang a left and go home. But you go a little bit further. You think about it like incrementally, because you might just find that movement is exactly what you needed to feel better, not sitting still doing nothing. There's someone that had said they had been dealing with back pain all their life, someone I know, and the doctor told them the best thing to help you is to get up and move around, just walk. It doesn't have to be like some serious, I'm walking fast. Just get out and walk and get up out of the chair and move. To this day, every time they're dealing with back pain, they decide to go for a walk rather than sit. And that's what I do. That's how I deal with everything. Am I alive? Am I breathing? Can I go? And you know what? 9.5 times out of 10, I can go. When I see that I can't sleep because of the pain, that's typically when I say, okay, tomorrow's a rest day. And there may be doctors or whatever that would say, oh, that's just crazy. Why are you doing that to yourself? And it's just the only way. It's kind of how I was brought up. You go to school unless you're dying, right? It doesn't matter how sick you think you are. If you're breathing, you're going to school. I listened to a motivational speaker almost on I would say almost a daily basis. His name is Eric Thomas. And one of the things he talks often about pain. He says, at the end of your pain is your reward. You're already in pain. Just go get your reward now. And it always sticks with me. When I'm sitting here complaining about how bad my knee is, a lot of the things he says stick with me. Another one of the things he says often, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. And I've always taken that one to heart. And I would plead with you, we have to demand more of ourselves. We have lived in mediocrity way too long. We've never demanded excellence from anything we've ever done. We've tried, we claim we try, and then when we fail, it's, no big deal. We'll try again. And we're in this endless cycle of giving half-hearted effort because we don't truly believe we can actually have what it is we have. But the one thing that separates us from anybody who is truly successful is they didn't take no for an answer. They demanded excellence at every given step of the way. And that's all you have to do. Demand excellence of yourself. Do not accept mediocrity anymore. You're worth more. You can achieve the greatness that you can see, that you can wish for. You just gotta put in the work. Do the 4-letter word that nobody on this planet wants to do. That's the difference between the people that are successful at anything in life and us. They did the work. They did what was considered impossible, what was considered silly, what was considered crazy, what was considered unfathomable. They did it because they demanded of themselves. And that's all you need to do. Demand it of yourself. Say you're going to do it and actually do it. Matter of fact, don't even talk about it anymore. Just do it. Do it and continue to do it every day. Every day until you have what it is you've been trying to get all of these years. If you really want what you say you want, do what you have to do. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.